My name is Hannah. My parents passed away when I was too young to remember them, so it was just me and Grandma. She was tough as nails, worked every day of her life till she couldn't anymore. When I was 18, she died, old age and a worn-out body, doctors said. Left me a bit of money for college and her old house. I sold the house right after high school. It was too full of memories and too empty without her. Bought myself a small apartment in the city, right next to the college where I started my accounting degree. College life was what you'd expect: classes, studying, and trying to scrape by. I worked part-time at a cafe, pouring coffee and flashing smiles for tips. The days were long, but I managed to graduate with decent grades and even landed a job at a big company downtown. But the evenings, man, they were lonely. You can only watch so much TV and talk to so many walls before you start to feel a bit nuts. That's why I started hanging out with a group from work. Every Friday, we'd hit some dive bar, laugh too loud, and forget about our pile of responsibilities, at least for the night. One of those Fridays, while I was trying to decide between beer or something harder, I met Eric. He was a friend of a friend, or maybe a friend of a friend of a friend, you know how these things go. Eric was different, though. He had this easy smile and a laugh that filled up the room. We got to talking over drinks. "Hey, I'm Eric," he said, that grin all but lighting up the dim bar. "Hannah. So, Eric, what brings you to this glorious establishment?" I asked, raising an eyebrow and taking a sip of my beer. He chuckled, running a hand through his hair. "Same as you, I guess. Friends dragged me out. Said I needed to get out more." "You?" Trying to avoid a night of talking to my furniture, I admitted. His laugh told me he got it. We hit it off straight away. Turned out he worked in IT at some tech startup I had never heard of. We talked about everything: music, movies, the crazy hustle of city life. It felt good to connect with someone who didn't just see me as the quiet girl from accounting. After that night, Eric and I started seeing each other outside of those Friday bar crawls. Coffee dates, long walks in the park, movie nights at his place or mine. It wasn't long before we were pretty much inseparable. Meeting his family was the next logical step, I guess. He'd told them about me, how I was on my own with no real family to speak of. His folks were kind, welcoming. His mom, a sweet lady who always seemed to be hosting some gathering or other, took me under her wing like I was one of her own. His dad was quieter, a stern man but fair, and he gave me firm handshakes and tougher smiles. "Mom, Dad, this is Hannah," Eric introduced me one Sunday afternoon at their family home in the suburbs. His mother enveloped me in a hug. "Oh, Hannah, dear, we've heard so much about you. Any friend of Eric's is family here." "Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. It's really nice to meet you both," I managed, a bit overwhelmed by their warmth. Eric's dad nodded, his eyes assessing but not unkind. "Good to meet you, Hannah. Eric tells us you're quite the accountant. We could use a mind like yours around here sometimes." That made me chuckle. "I'll do my best to live up to the hype, sir." The day went well, better than I had expected. We talked, ate, and by the end of it, I felt a little less alone in the world. After Eric and I got serious, things moved pretty fast. Not in a bad way, mind you, but in a whirlwind, sweep you off your feet kind of way. A year flew by like it was nothing, filled with those little moments that make you realize you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Eric proposed on a chilly evening in November, right there in the park where we'd taken so many of our walks. It was just us, a few falling leaves, and his nervous smile. He took a deep breath, then got down on one knee, right there on the path. "Marry me, Hannah. I can't imagine this life without you." My heart might have skipped a beat or three. "Yeah? Forever seems like a long time with you, you sure?" "Positive," he grinned, his eyes locked on mine. "Well then, yes. Yes, Eric, I'll marry you," I said, and just like that, we were engaged. Simple, no fuss, just us. That was how we liked it. Planning the wedding was a bit of a circus, with his family diving in headfirst. His mom, bless her, wanted to go all out, but we managed to keep it simple. Just family and close friends at a small venue in the city. Hannah, dear, are you sure you don't want more flowers? And what about the catering? We could do. Mrs. Thompson. I cut in, trying to keep my tone light. Eric and I really want it simple. Small. Intimate, you know? Just the people we love and care about. She looked at me, then at Eric, who was nodding emphatically, and finally, she sighed. All right, you two are the bosses. But let me do the desserts, at least. Deal, I agreed, smiling. It was hard to say no to her desserts, anyway. The wedding day was a blur of smiles, vows, and a lot of dancing. Eric's dad gave me a hug, a real one this time, and whispered, "Welcome to the family, Hannah. We're glad to have you." "Thanks, Mr. Thompson. I'm glad to be here," I whispered back, surprised at the moisture in my eyes. After the wedding, life settled into a new normal. Eric and I returned to my apartment, now officially our place. It felt right, him being there all the time. His job kept him busy, and so did mine, but we made it work. Weekends were our refuge. Sometimes, we'd drive out to his parents' house in the suburbs, other times we'd just laze around at home. It wasn't perfect, no family is, but it was real, and it was mine. And as I learned back when I was just a kid with my grandma, that's about as good as it gets. When Eric told me he was going to be away for a year on a business trip, I didn't quite realize how quiet our apartment could get. It was one thing to miss him, another to navigate the silence of an empty home. But life throws curveballs, and you gotta learn to catch 'em or duck. A few months into his trip, Eric's dad got sick. Really sick. One evening, Eric called, his voice tight with worry. "Hannah, it's Dad. He's not doing well. Could you check in on Mom? Maybe stay with her for a bit?" The concern in his voice was enough for me. "Of course, I'll head over tomorrow." "Don't worry, babe, I've got this." Arriving at his parents' house, I was struck by how much had changed. The place looked worn, a bit like how his dad must have been feeling. His mom, usually so vibrant, looked tired to her bones. "Hannah, thank you for coming," she sighed, pulling me into a tired hug. "Don't mention it. Let me help around here. You focus on him," I said, setting my bag down. As days turned into weeks, I took over the cleaning and cooking. It wasn't exactly my dream job, but seeing the relief on his mom's face made it worthwhile. Evenings were spent sitting with his dad, reading out loud from his favorite books. He loved old westerns, and even though they were never my thing, I got pretty good at drawing like a cowboy. One evening, while we were cleaning up after dinner, his mom dropped a bombshell. "Hannah, you know, with Frank out of work now, we're strapped. The bills are piling up." I hadn't realized how bad it had gotten. "I'm sorry, it's been tough all around." She bit her lip, hesitating. "Could you, maybe consider renting out your apartment? If you moved in here, it would help a lot." The request hung in the air, heavy as the evening humidity. Renting out my place hadn't crossed my mind, but neither had ignoring a family in need. "Okay, I'll figure something out. Let me make some calls tomorrow." After a week of hustling, I managed to rent out my apartment. The extra cash felt good to have, not just for me, but for them. Every month, I transferred money to his mom and took care of the groceries and some bills. It wasn't my money anymore, it was ours. Living there wasn't easy. My commute to work doubled, and the early mornings and late nights started to wear on me.